sucks so much taxpayer money away, there's little left for important stuff like infrastructure and education. Chicago may become the next Detroit. But there is some good news. Rahm Emanuel supports charter schools, and there are more of them now, and many are better. Some Chicago parents now say, wow, my kids are learning much more.
You think the teachers are actually better teachers?
Yes, I believe they give the attention the kids need. That's what I definitely think.
That's one reason there are 20,000 kids on charter school waiting lists in Chicago. It would be good if there were more charters, fewer kids on the waiting list, but Starlee Coleman of the Goldwater Institute says that today 1 in 5 high school students in Chicago now attends a charter. And these charters are better. I'm sure all of them aren't.
There's no question that there's no pretending that every charter school is like Lake Wobegon, where every kid is above average. But what we do know is that when parents are given choices and teachers and administrators are given the freedom to innovate, very good things happen. By and large, charter schools are outperforming schools that report to the school district on reading and math at almost every grade level and with every demographic group.
And when they don't, they shrivel or they don't continue, and the good ones open other branches.
Exactly. That's the promise of charter schools. Bad schools don't stay open. They get closed down. That's the deal they make with the government, and that's a pretty good deal, especially in a city like Chicago where only 50% of the kids who graduate from high school at a district-run school go on to college. You contrast that with charter schools where 70% of the kids graduating are going on to college.
Let's cover that. We have some charts. First of all, in charters, there are more high school students in charters in Chicago, 20% versus 3.6% in New York. You're mentioning the graduation rates. We actually have 68% from the traditional public schools, 76% charter schools. College enrollment, charters 70 versus 50%.
Right. And what's really fascinating about the numbers, when you take away the percentage and look at what the actual student population looks like in charter schools, 92% of the kids who go to a charter school are from a low-income family. And so when you're taking a student population where nearly 100% are low income and 70% of those kids are going on to college, that's pretty mind-blowing. Nationwide, only 50% of low-income kids go on to college.
I'm not so sure it's great that so many go. They get ripped off in college, but that's another story.
They should have that choice.
They should have that choice. What happens if Emanuel loses if Chewy wins?
If Chewy wins, charter schools are sunk. This guy is literally bought and paid for by the teachers union. They're his largest campaign funders. He has said that he will put a moratorium on charter schools in place if he's elected mayor, much like the mayor in New York City, Mayor de Blasio, pledged during his campaign. And he was the subject of a really robust, heated debate, as you will recall, last year.
After protests, because the parents say, I like my kid in this school, he's at least backed down.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing about charter schools. You know, at schools like Noble Prep in Chicago, there are 5 kids for every available seat applying to that school. If parents didn't like what they were seeing, they wouldn't have such demand.
At Urban Prep, 100% college acceptance rate.
Absolutely amazing story at Urban Prep. 100% of the students who attend Urban Prep are African-American boys. 100% of those students go on to college. Across the country, 30% of African-American boys go on to college. This is an amazing success story that needs to be continued. And when you hear mayors say they want to shut that down, you really have to wonder what is going on with that.
They're on the take from the unions. Thank you, Starlee Coleman. Coming up, one more unbelievably sneaky and deceitful thing that Chicago's mayor got away with.